Are you an aficionado of the tiny keyboard? Are you in need of keycap for that tiny keyboard? Well, today we are going to seek and see what group buys are available so that a year and a half, maybe, it's good to expect delays, your tiny keyboard will be outfitted with keycap and all will be well. So stay tuned. Welcome back, fellow keyboard degenerates, to another episode of Is It 40 Friendly, where we take a look at actively running group buys and seeing if they have the keycaps that we need, and hoping not to be hurt again. So much hurt. Now, I always like to show off what I've been using most recently in these intros, and this is my 4x6 Dactyl Manuform outfitted with KL Box Navies and SA Pulse. This is technically my second hand-wired build. I did a hand-wired build with a big switch, but I mean, that's just, a couple of wires between a big switch and a microcontroller in the case. But this one was a lot more expensive, as you can imagine. I also have a build log starting next week. It's going to be a 4-part where I do a little intro, then rows, and an episode on columns, and wiring and putting everything into the microcontroller, then the firmware. So if you have even the slightest interest in that, do tune into that. But you didn't hear me this video to hear me bragging about my mediocre keyboard building skills. You clicked on this video to hear me rant about keycap sets and their 40 coverage. So let's go ahead and get right to it. And now we have made the transition from the halfway decent microphone to the even shittier microphone. Our first keycap set for this episode is GMK Star. GMK Star started on the 23rd of February. It's running through the 31st of March. It is a GMK keycap set. The base kit is $145. I don't think we're going to miss that penny there. Now, taking a look here, this is pretty much going to be bog standard GMK. First keycap set of the episode, going to run through this. We have row 2 1-unit deletes. We have a 1.5 unit backspace on row 2. Row 3, we have nothing of use except for a 175 control. And we have a 125 and a 175 unit shift. Again, some builds might use a full-size shift, but usually those are the two of the common ones besides a 1 unit, as well as all of our bottom row modifiers, star standing in for system, windows, GUI, menu, and an FN key, as well as 2 colors of arrows. Now, moving on from there, I believe I did see a 40s kit. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what this coverage is looking like here. So row 2, we're pretty decently covered. We have escape keys in 2 different flavors, a 1-unit tab, a 1-unit backspace, as well as a 175 backspace. Good to go there. Row 3, we have an escape, a 1 1/4 tab, a 1-unit code, a 1 1/4 unit code, a 1 unit, 1.5 unit, and 175 unit enter, as well as an apostrophe and a 1.5 unit FN key. Row 4, we're filling in that 1 unit shift that was missing from the base kit, as well as our raise lower, an extra miscellaneous key we can possibly substitute for an extra like FN key, something like that. Again, I don't particularly like using raise and lower. In a case like this, I might use like the alternate colored arrows to use as my raise and lower or FN keys, what have you, as well as a 175 unit lock. Space bars doing pretty good here. We have 2 1 units, a 175, a 2 unit, a 275, and a 225. Try to trick me there, switching up to 275 and 225. What kind of Satan organized this one? So that's pretty good so far. But what's the price? $50. And I have a $180 ceiling that if a keycap set crosses it, I won't go so easy on it. So we have 145 plus the 50, and you know what that equals? 195. So this would otherwise get a 40 friendly rating. However, I'm going to have to knock GMK Star down to 40 pretty good because of the price. It is a very expensive keycap set. And next we have DSS Bounty Hunter, which started on the 23rd of February and is running through the 17th of March. Now, this is very similar to a DSA keycap set you can usually find, or have been able to find, might be out of stock now, on Prime KB, which they mention in the description here, with a colorway modeled after Boba Fett from Star Wars. If that's not an example of an obscure reference, then I don't know what is. He says with a heavy mark of sarcasm. So this one is going to be DSS. So DSA, as long as you have the right keycap size, it can go anywhere on any row because it's a uniform profile. But DSS, we have a sculpted profile. Now, luckily, these are symbols, so if it doesn't expressly say something and not using the absolute right symbol doesn't bother you, then you can kind of just fill in whatever, wherever. But taking a look here, row 2 looks like we have two 1-unit backspaces, 2 different colors on that, a 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 175, as well as 2 escape keys. Then on row 3, we have a 1 unit and a 1 1/4 unit tab, as well as a 1 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 175 unit enter. Now, downside there, we do not have a row 3 escape key, which is going to be a no-go for a lot of ortho and ergo users. Not me, because I'm basic and I follow the convention of horizontal stagger in that case, even though I probably will never touch another horizontal stagger keyboard in my life. Moving down to row 4, we have a 1 1 1/4, 1 1/2, and 175 unit shift, plus an extra 1 unit shift there on the end. Row 3, we have miscellaneous with arrows and 1 unit. Looks like we have a inverse of the shift key, which oftentimes might indicate a caps lock. However, I'm just going to assume that's meant to stand in for something else. We also have duplicates in the 1 1/4, except for that potential sort of caps lock, I'm going to call it. And it looks like it's been replaced by a possible menu key, as well as 1 1/4 raise and lower. We have a few 1 1/2 unit keys, as well as a 1 1/2 and 175 yellow enter keys. And then come down here to spacebars, we have a 6 1/4, a DSA 175, two 175s, two units, 225 and 275. But we are suspiciously missing 2 1-unit spacebars, which I am going to have to docket pretty heavily for, as well as missing that row 3 escape key. Meaning this is not going to be a useful keycap set for a lot of people using a grid layout plank or other generic ortho style keyboard, or someone who has a column stagger keyboard but kind of follows a little more closely with that default plank layout. We're also missing 1 1/2 units, which is also kind of an inconvenience for those people as well, though I don't take anything away if we don't have 1 1/2 unit spacebars yet. That's coming in the future. I just don't know when I'm actually going to be implementing that. So because of that, those are some pretty big omissions. From a primarily 40% keycap set, I'm going to have to give it 40 all right. That might seem kind of harsh, but I mean, these are, staples in 40s kits. We are also lacking 1 unit raise and lower keys as well, though we have enough 1 units, we can probably have a stand in there, possibly. But again, to reiterate, DSS Bounty Hunter is 40 all right. So next up, we have MG Ghost, and MG is a sculpted spherical keycap profile that is somewhat of a derivative of SA. I know someone's going to say, it's nothing like SA. However, if you look at pictures of it, that's pretty SA-ish to me. At least just for a very broad comparison. Now, MG Ghost started on the 24th of February, and it is running through the 15th of March. The Ides of March. Let's see if that bodes well for a possible 40 coverage here. And taking a look here at the base kit, it looks, again, kind of standard GMK-ish. We have some incidental coverage for a 40% keyboard, but not a deliberate coverage or attempt here. Again, nothing wrong with that. And taking a look here through the other keycap sets, it's obvious that we do not have any attempt at further 40 coverage here, so MG Ghost is going to have to get a not 40 friendly. And next we come to a website that I think very closely matches our last keycap set, and that is MK Ultra, who is hosting the ePBT Grand Tour keycaps. It started on the 25th of February, and that's running through the 25th of March. So, to dive in here, we have pretty much a standard, or a mirror of a standard GMK keycap set. There might be some odds and ends that might differ a little bit, but pretty much we have parity with that. Now, if we check here, we have a 40s keycap set. And let's go and see what this has in store for us. So, looks like we have a little bit of pandering here to the Prionic crowd. I'm kidding. Nothing wrong with the Prionic. Row 3, we have Escape. We have a 1 unit tab, a 1 unit backspace, as well as a 175 backspace, and a miscellaneous icon key. Row 2, we have an Escape, a 1 unit tab, a 1 1/4 unit tab, an apostrophe, a 1 and a 1 1/4 unit miscellaneous key, as well as an icon key as well. And row 2 is continued with a 1 unit, a 1/4, 1 1/2, 175 unit enter, as well as a 1 1/2 and 175 miscellaneous icon modifier as well. Row 1, we have raise, lower, as well as 2 up arrow keys. I'm going to assume those are shifts, a purple enter, 1 unit, and 175 lock. With the spacebar coverage, they are convex. We have 2 1 unit, 2 2 units, a 175, a 225, and 275, all for $20. So altogether, we're looking at So altogether, we're looking at $118, which is that's not too bad. It's not too bad there. Now again, I have never actually had a set of ePBT keycaps in hand, so I can't speak to the quality of them, but that is a pretty decent price for 40 coverage. So I'm going to go ahead and give ePBT Grand Tour 40 friendly. Next on our list is one of two icon-only novelty-style keycap sets in Geekark Triangle, and this keycap set started on the 25th of February, and it is running through the 25th of March. Now, with a keycap set like this, all they really need are the right keycap sizes for the right row, and then we can give it a 40 friendly. Even if they have kind of some special modifier-specific icons, we can still kind of fudge it, as long as you're not too picky. God knows I'm not. So taking a look here at the base kit, these are alphas and numpad keys. Nothing too out of the ordinary there, though it looks like the homing keys are printed bars. That's interesting. And let's see here. I'm just checking, make sure we don't have a 40s kit that I'm missing. Space bars are good. Would still like to see a couple of 1.5s, but that's just as a CRKBD user. So what we need here are a few things. Now we're already going to have a couple of row 2 1-unit modifiers available. We're going to have a 175 for row 3. We're going to have a 175 and a 1 1/4 and a 2-unit for row 4, as well as all the bottom row modifiers more than likely covered in some form or fashion. It should be giving you enough 1-unit keys left over to kind of fill just about anything, unless we have a very, very extensive thumb cluster arrangement we're working with. The sticking point here is going to be a 175 row 2 key, as well as a 1 1/4 unit row 3 key. I'm not seeing a 1 1/4 unit row 3 key here, nor am I seeing a 175 unit. I do see a 2 unit. I don't even see a 1.5. Well, I do see a 1.5. Now I am seeing a 1.5 unit key in row 2, but no 175. Again, a 1 unit, we're going to have those in spades, just because. But so for this one, Geekark Triangle, I'm going to give it not 40 friendly in this case. You might be able to swing this with an ortho build or an ergo build. However, given that we are missing a 1 1/4 row 3 keycap, that is just so fundamentally necessary on staggered layered keyboards that, actually, let me split it up. It's not 40 friendly for horizontal staggered keyboards. It is potentially 40 friendly for ortho and ergo keyboards. And the last keycap set we're going to go over in this video is going to be the JDA The Moon. And that is another kind of novelty icon only keycap set, and that started on the 26th of February and is running through the 22nd of March. And I admittedly have already kind of perused this a little bit. Well, we do have some text mods here, but we don't have any 40 coverage there. No intentional 40 coverage, I should say. White Moon is the same deal. And since we are missing things like a 175 backspace, a 1 1/4 row 3 keycap like a tab, this one I am going to have to give it not 40 friendly as well, just simply because there wasn't really any attempt to cover a 40% keyboard. So for JDA The Moon, I'm going to give it not 40 friendly as well.